Tropical storm Ian has formed, and in this video we'll be tracking its intensity, its track, and all of its impacts across the United States and the Caribbean as we head through the next 7 days. And in this video we're going to be talking about our first frost and freeze conditions across the Great Lakes region as we head into next week, and also looking at your early October weather forecast as well going into this video. Welcome back, everybody. Good Sunday morning out there. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. If you guys are new to the channel and have yet to subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell to get all of my daily important weather forecast updates on this channel. So let's get to the forecast. Let's waste no time here this morning. We got lots to talk about here. We got Tropical Storm Ian formed across the central Caribbean yesterday, and it's continuing to press its way to the north and west as we move through the next several days. And you can see we actually have into the Cayman Islands and parts of just to the west of Jamaica, we have tropical storm watches, hurricane watches, and warnings as well across portions of western Cuba and getting up toward the Cayman Islands as we head through the next couple of days with what is likely to become a rapidly intensifying Hurricane Ian as we head through the rest of this weekend and into early next week. So looking here at the visible satellite imagery, we definitely have a lot of messy conditions going on here. We got kind of a disorganized system right now with kind of some scattered convection here starting to wrap a little bit farther around the center of low pressure, and that will continue as we head through the day today and into early next week as the system rapidly intensifies over the open waters of the Caribbean and makes its way toward western Cuba and eventually over the open waters of the Gulf of Mexico as well. So looking at the ensemble tracks of this is kind of what we like to look at to see where the system could steer its way to the north. It does look like the ensembles are getting more agreement that this is going to move over far western Cuba and then kind of move into the east central Gulf of Mexico and eventually somewhere into northwestern and western Florida as we move into early next week. So let's look at the official National Hurricane Center's forecast for this. It will quickly strengthen to a hurricane later on today, probably this afternoon, and actually strengthen to a major hurricane by the time we get to Monday afternoon and evening, and maintain major hurricane status, which would be Category 3 or higher as we head through the middle of next week, at least through Wednesday evening, and probably most likely making landfall here across portions of northwestern and western Florida as a Category 2 hurricane potentially into early in portions of middle next week. So let's kind of look at the intensity guidance with this. It does look to, quickly jump up to Category 3, Category 4 strength as we head in towards the next 48 to 72 hours. And it's not out of the realm of possibility that it gets very close to Category 5 strength. If it can remain over the open waters for a long period of time, a little bit longer than some of these models are showing, then yes, definitely possible that it could get close to Category 5 strength as it moves across the eastern Gulf of Mexico. And the reason why I say that is because look at these sea surface temperatures. Now, this is in Celsius, but wherever you see 30 degrees Celsius, that is 86 degrees Fahrenheit water temperatures here. So we have a lot of 30s here on the map, some 31s. We have water temperatures closing in on 90 degrees Fahrenheit across this area. So that is definitely concerning as this tropical storm will rapidly intensify in these conditions as we get into the middle of next week. So let's track that here using the GFS model. I do want to use this model because I do really like the track that the GFS is taking here with this system now. So let's look at this here. Later on this afternoon, strengthening to a stronger tropical storm. But by the time we get into Monday afternoon, Monday evening, this rapidly intensifies to a Category 1 and eventually a Category 2 system by the time we get to Monday afternoon. And by the time we get to Tuesday early next week, this will be a major hurricane, likely a Category 3 or 4 hurricane as it crosses into western Cuba there with a lot of impacts across western Cuba, the Cayman Islands, and then as it crosses over the open waters of the eastern Gulf of Mexico, this will be a monster hurricane, likely a Category 4, and it's not out of the realm of possibility that this could actually become a Category 5 as we get into the middle of next week on your Wednesday time frame as it approaches western and northwestern Florida. Looking at the European forecast model, it's a little bit farther to the east still, but I really like the track with the GFS that it takes right now as it kind of moves over the eastern Gulf of Mexico. That's a lot of what these ensembles are showing. I'm a little bit disagreeing with kind of the European forecast model. It can't be discounted, but I think it's a little bit too far east here with this model. So we'll continue to watch it. But looking at the GFS, very robust wave heights with this system. If that does pan out and the GFS is correct, we could be seeing wave heights over about 30 feet across the central and eastern Gulf of Mexico. The European forecast model does become the winner in this and being correct, we could have still some pretty robust wave heights around 25 to 30 feet closer in there toward Florida, not to mention the onshore flow. So you have storm surge and a lot of flooding there on the beachfront. So definitely want to stay away from those areas, that is for sure. And in addition, yes, we will have precipitation, very heavy rainfall with these systems as well, especially with the stronger hurricanes. You're going to be seeing precipitable water values across most of the peninsula of Florida approaching 2.5, if not closer to 2 3/4 inches. So that is very impressive here as we head in towards the middle of next week, and that is on your Wednesday time frame. So let's go over the model guidance for kind of the rainfall estimates here using the GFS, the model that I do prefer here. It is showing some heavier rainfall a little bit farther off here to the west of Florida. I do think Florida will see quite a bit of rainfall. I'm thinking probably anywhere from 6 to 12 inches. Locally higher amounts are possible, and I think that's pretty much in line with what the European forecast model is saying here. I do agree with the European forecast model with the rainfall amounts, but again, the track of this is a little bit uncertain still, so we'll continue to watch this as we head into the middle of next week. Now we got to talk about the frost and freeze conditions across the middle of the country here, but before then, we have a trough digging down, and this is going to create some havoc across the mid-Atlantic and Northeast later on this afternoon. We got a strong, mid and upper level jet diving down on the base of the trough across southern and southeastern Canada and down into the northeastern U.S. And this is going to actually cause the threat for severe weather. We have a slight risk for severe weather, an upgrade from the Storm Prediction Center here at their 1 o'clock in the morning update across portions of the mid-Atlantic, southeastern Pennsylvania, portions of Virginia, getting back into the Washington, D.C. area, New Jersey, all the way back into Long Island, including New York City as we head into later on today, and then kind of extending back farther down the Appalachian chain there into eastern Tennessee, western North Carolina, and maybe far northern Georgia. We could have some stronger storms than that marginal risk, which is a level 1 of 5 on the scale. We will also have a pretty robust low-level jet feeding in across this area on the base of this trough, so we will be concerned about a tornado threat. The Storm Prediction Center has hoisted a 2% chance of tornadoes across portions of that I-95 corridor from near Boston to New York City, and then getting down towards New Jersey there, eastern portions of Pennsylvania, including the Baltimore area, Philadelphia, and then getting back into portions of Washington, D.C. and Delaware. We definitely have to watch that. Looking also at the wind probabilities, we have a 15% shading here for winds that could be in excess of 60 miles per hour, and also hail that could be over quarter size. So definitely something to watch as we head into later on today. So let's time this out for you using the composite reflectivity here by the HRRR model, the best model that we have for the short term. And you can see supercell thunderstorms will start breaking out across the mid-Atlantic as we head into later on this afternoon, say about 2, 3, and 4 o'clock time frame. And these will initiate very quickly. We'll start to see more numerous storms developing and blossom across the mid-Atlantic and the I-95 corridor. And some of these storms could be rotating supercells with tornadoes, damaging winds over 60 miles per hour, and quarter-size hail or higher as we head into later on this afternoon and this evening, before we start to kind of turn off the severe weather threat from west to east as this trough really takes over as we get into the overnight hours and into early Monday morning. But this is what we have to kind of look forward to, is we have frost and freeze conditions as we get towards the middle of next week. This trough is going to become very strong as we move into portions of the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast as we head into Monday and really even into Tuesday, kind of sticking around as well. And this is going to create a lot of those fall-like, even almost winter-like temperatures here as we head towards the middle of next week. So looking here at Monday, September 26th, we got temperatures widespread across especially the upper Great Lakes into the Arrowhead of Minnesota, the Northwoods of Wisconsin, all the way over there toward interior New England, well into the 50s, and kind of some of these areas sticking into the 50s for highs on your Monday. Looking at the overnight lows, we could have some frost across northern Minnesota and northeastern North Dakota on Monday evening, a little bit more isolated there. But as we head into Tuesday, a lot more of those 50s will start dropping south towards the Illinois Valley, and towards portions of the Ohio Valley and much more of the Appalachian chain in New England. And as we get into the overnight hours, yeah, these blue shaded colors across the Arrowhead of Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, and maybe as far south as the Madison, Wisconsin area, we could have a hard freeze with potentially temperatures going down as far as the upper 20s across some of these areas, and potentially even a widespread frost as well. So that will be something to watch if you have sensitive vegetation out there, any plants that you need to bring in. Definitely something to watch as we get towards early and middle portion of next week. And looking here at the climatological date of the first freeze of 32 degrees Fahrenheit or lower, in the blue shaded colors, that's between September 21st, the first day of fall, all the way through the end of the month of September. And the darker greens here, that's between October 1st and October 10th. And the lighter greens here, that's between October 11th and pretty much the end of October towards Halloween. So pretty much right on the, on par with what we expect here climatologically for the first freeze in some of these areas. But the earliest freeze here has been much earlier. We've had freezes as early as, late August into early September across portions of the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast. So really kind of moving into this territory where we have an early frost and freeze, but it's still kind of just a few days early, compared to climatology. So it's not too big of a deal, but you still have to watch those plants out there. But yeah, looking here longer range into the first full week of October, from October 1st all the way really through the 8th time frame, that ridge will start to build eastward across the center of the country, really dominating across the Great Plains and into the upper Midwest as we head to the first full week in October. And you can see that. Look at the spike in the jet stream here with that ridge extending all the way up, not only into southern Canada, but central and northern Canada as we get into early October. And that really continues really towards that first full week in October. Yeah, we'll still have a trough across the Northeast, but it really is going to be kind of influenced by this ridge and how far east it could get. And we also might have a trough starting to dig down across the Pacific Northwest toward British Columbia, Canada as well. That could bring actually some active weather here kind of underneath that ridge as we head into that first few days of October. That could bring some above normal precipitation for places like Seattle, Portland, Oregon, and getting over towards the northwestern Rockies, while areas underneath that ridge will have a lot of sinking air, a lot more sunshine here, the fall weather out there with some fall-like temperatures at times and some below normal precipitation there from Texas all the way up into the portions of the Tennessee, Ohio valleys and into the Great Lakes during that period. Looking over the next 7 days, however, much of the rainfall is going to be across the eastern seaboard here from the Ohio Valley, the Northeast, and especially across the Southeast and Florida. Definitely have to watch out for all that heavy rain out there. Lots of flooding across those areas, that is for sure. But look across the rest of the country. We really don't have much rainfall on the way across much of the country, even the monsoonal areas across the Four Corners region here into Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico. We're really not seeing much rainfall over the next 7 days, and that is concerning. Looking at the drought monitor here, we have lots of that severe, extreme, and even parts of these areas in exceptional drought still, and so this drought looks to expand a little bit as we head into early October, so that is the concern. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely appreciate you guys watching. As always, remember to like the video down below by giving it a thumbs up. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Turn on all notifications here. I will probably be going live later on this week here to track that hurricane as it makes landfall toward Florida, so definitely turn on all notifications for that, and I'll have more updates on the hurricane as it gets a little bit closer toward the mainland United States. Have a great Sunday, everybody, the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you all in the next video.